Courtrooms represent the pinnacle of law and justice. They are sacred spaces where verdicts are rendered, accountability is enforced, and society upholds the rule of law. Yet, on rare occasions, these solemn halls are the very stage for some of the most dangerous and chilling acts imaginable. Whether it's an act of revenge, a desperate escape, or a final defiant gesture, courtroom drama can sometimes spill over into terrifying reality. In this script, we'll explore 8 of the most dangerous and unforgettable courtroom moments in history, where emotions boiled over, violence erupted, and lives were forever changed. In one of Nebraska's most horrific murder cases, Aubrey Trail stood trial in 2019 for the killing of 24-year-old Sidney Loof. Along with his partner, Bailey Boswell, Trail had lured Loof through a dating app before murdering and dismembering her in what prosecutors described as a sexually motivated, premeditated act of violence.
A tale of pain for a sexual fantasy, an accidental death, and then disposal of 24-year-old Sidney Loof's body in a bizarre religious method. That's what Aubrey Trail told investigators in this June 11, 2018 interview.
In the process, Sidney Loof died. There was lots of violent sex involved. There was strangulation involved. It was not supposed to go as far as it did, but it did.
But what stunned the nation was what Trail did during his own trial. In the middle of court proceedings, as prosecutors outlined graphic evidence, Trail suddenly stood up and yelled, "Bailey is innocent, and I curse you all." He then pulled a concealed razor blade from his pocket and slashed his own throat.
This was the scene shortly after 11 a.m. as Aubrey Trail is heard yelling his co-defendant Bailey Boswell's innocence, cutting his own neck, and falling forward out of his wheelchair. Deputies immediately rushed to Trail to subdue him. The judge then told the pool camera to stop recording. He was wheeled out of the courthouse, loaded into an ambulance, and taken to the hospital.
Gasps filled the courtroom as Trail collapsed, blood pouring from the wound. Emergency services were called, and the trial came to a temporary halt. He survived the self-inflicted wound and was taken into custody under medical supervision. Aubrey Trail eventually returned to court and was sentenced to death. Boswell was later convicted and sentenced to life in prison. The courtroom incident became a chilling reminder of how dangerous defendants can become, especially when emotions run high and pressure mounts. Court psychologists later revealed that Trail had shown signs of narcissistic and antisocial behavior throughout the trial, and his dramatic self-harm stunt was seen as a manipulative attempt to redirect attention. Surveillance footage later showed he had likely hidden the razor blade in his shoe, exposing flaws in courthouse pat-down procedures. During his sentencing, Trail remained combative and unrepentant, reinforcing the court's belief that he was a threat to society. The story of Michael Marin sounds like a crime thriller, except it happened in real life and on live video. Marin, a former Wall Street trader and millionaire, was found guilty in 2012 of arson after he set his multi-million-dollar Arizona mansion on fire in an attempt to collect insurance money. The fire was suspicious from the beginning, especially since Marin had financial troubles and had just attended church before returning home to a blazing fire. When the jury read the guilty verdict in court, Marin's expression didn't change much. He reached into his pocket, placed something in his mouth, and took a sip of water. Seconds later, he collapsed to the floor in full-body convulsions. Medical personnel rushed in, but Marin was declared dead shortly after. The substance he ingested turned out to be cyanide. An investigation revealed he had smuggled the poison into the courtroom and committed suicide rather than face a lengthy prison sentence. Marin's shocking death was one of the most chilling courtroom moments ever caught on video. It not only raised questions about courtroom security, but also highlighted the desperation of a man who had gone from financial success to criminal disgrace. One of the most tragic and deeply unsettling courtroom incidents in recent history occurred in Kentucky in 2024. District Court Judge Kevin R. Mullins, a respected figure in Letcher County, was gunned down inside his own courthouse chambers. The shooter, none other than the sitting sheriff of the same county, Mickey Stines.
Come on now, don't kill me.
No, worry about it.
I mean, this is let's be fair.
Nobody's gonna lay a finger on you, I promise that.
Don't shoot me.
In the new footage, Stines can be seen looking paranoid and scanning for threats.
Stines reportedly entered the courthouse and told staff he needed to speak with Judge Mullins privately. The two walked into the judge's chambers and closed the door behind them. Minutes later, gunshots rang out. Courthouse staff immediately contacted authorities. When officers arrived, they found Mullins fatally shot. Stines calmly walked out of the courthouse and surrendered without resistance.
Shedding light on a Kentucky County sheriff who is being charged with the shooting death of a judge inside of his court chambers. Sheriff Shawn Stines made his first appearance in court last week. That video is just so hard to be able to watch there, where he pled not guilty. Police say Stines shot Judge Kevin Mullins multiple times last week after an argument inside a Kentucky courtroom. They have not offered any details about a possible motive, but if convicted, Stines could serve up to 20 years to life in prison.
The motive behind the shooting remains unclear, although speculation points to a possible disagreement or political tension between the two. Stines was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The incident sent shockwaves through the local community, especially since both men were prominent public servants. Security protocols were revisited across the state following the judge's killing. The notion that a sheriff, a person sworn to uphold the law, could commit such a heinous act within the very court he served left a permanent stain on Kentucky's judicial system.
Is that a portion of the video?
Yes, it is.
And were you able to identify the parties we saw in that video?
That was Sheriff Mickey Stines and Judge Kevin Mullins.
Mickey Stines' murder of Judge Mullins sent shockwaves through Kentucky's legal community, not only because of the violence, but because of who committed it. Stines had served for years in law enforcement with a seemingly clean record, which only deepened the horror and confusion following the shooting. Rumors swirled about personal disputes, corruption investigations, and even political motivations, though none were confirmed. Play Alan Duke's Courtroom Rampage was one of the most dramatic and terrifying ever recorded. In December 2010, Duke entered a Bay District School Board meeting in Panama City, Florida. He calmly approached the podium and began spray painting a red V on the wall, a reference to the movie V for Vendetta. Then, without warning, he pulled out a handgun and ordered everyone but the male board members to leave the room.
Can we talk for a minute?
Clay Duke's attack startled everyone else, but he'd planned this. Police found the date circled on his home calendar. And once he held members of the Bay District School Board hostage, he ignored their pleas.
I've got a lot with my wife and family. I don't need to die.
Duke blamed the school board for his wife's firing and financial hardships. As he ranted, he began shooting at board members from just feet away. Miraculously, every shot missed. The superintendent tried to reason with him, and just as Duke raised the gun again, a retired police officer serving as school security, Mike Jones, opened fire and wounded Duke.
Duke let her live, but no one could talk him down.
Please don't. Please don't. Please.
I'm gonna kill you.
I'm not a pansy, but I will tell you I was very afraid. I was scared to death.
Instead of surrendering, Duke turned the gun on himself and died on the spot. The entire terrifying incident was caught on video by local news crews who were covering the board meeting. The footage went viral and triggered national conversations about mental health, economic desperation, and school safety. Clay Duke's case later sparked renewed discussions about gun control and mental health access in Florida. A deeper dive into Duke's background revealed a troubled man with a history of financial distress, depression, and previous encounters with the law. He had posted online rants days before the shooting, hinting at a looming act of revenge. His wife had lost her job with the school board, and Duke saw the board members as villains in his life story. Courtrooms are meant to be places of order, but as these cases show, they can also become arenas of chaos, desperation, and sometimes deadly violence. Whether fueled by vengeance, madness, or final defiance, these individuals turn the calm of legal proceedings into scenes of fear and tragedy. These incidents are more than headlines. They're stark reminders of the human emotions that often lie just beneath the surface, waiting to erupt. But they also highlight the critical importance of courtroom security and the need to never underestimate the volatility of those on trial.